Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Penda. If you are tuned in today, then you're going to be seeing a first impression and a review of the new Fenty Beauty products. I have here the Diamond Milk Gloss Balm and the How Many Calories Diamond Balm. So the biggest question I had when I first saw these products are they dark skin friendly and how do they apply? So if you have those same questions, make sure you keep on watching. So the first product that I have is the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Gloss Balm, and this is in the shade Diamond Milk. As far as the packaging, it's literally the same packaging as the first gloss balm that comes out. So when you open it, it looks like this. So it's literally like, it looks almost pure white, like a milky color. When you open it, the wand is also the exact same as the previous one from the original gloss balm. And this is what it looks like swatched. So just as a first impression, I do like this color. I feel like once I put it on my lip, it is going to be clear. One thing that I can say is that the iridescents that are in this look almost like a bluish or purplish color. It definitely has a lot of sparkle and a lot of shine on it, but it is super, super clear. The next product that I purchased is the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Diamond Balm All Over Diamond Veil, and this one is in the shade How Many Carats. What I can say about this is I love the packaging, and I'm not sure if you guys can see. I'm going to try to focus it on, but it has like silver sparkles all over the box, and it just looks really, really cute to me. Like I really, really love this. When you open this, it comes in the pink casing. So the packaging itself for this is really, really pretty. It looks like it has a silver packaging, and then it has silver speckles or silver glitter, and then there's a clear case that's on top, so that's the front, and then the back just has the shade name, which is How Many Carats. When you open this package, this is what you see. It looks really white, and I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it. One thing I will say is that the mirror that comes with this is amazing. Like I feel like I can see myself so clear with this. I see all of my pores. But the mirror is really, really clear and really nice. It has a bounce to it, and when I press into it, it's almost like I can make a dent. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it definitely pushes in once you push it down. So this reminds me of something that you might want to be careful with, but it also makes me feel like this is something that could potentially dry out if you left the package open. So I did go ahead and rub some on my hand, and this is what it swatches like. It's pretty sheer in my opinion. I thought that it was going to be more pigmented. I'm going to see if I can actually build this up, so I'm just going to rub more and then swatch on top of that. So after building it up, this is what it looks like. This is kind of scaring me because I feel like it's going to look ashy on my skin tone, but then at the same time, because it seems like it swatches so lightly, it's probably going to lightly pick up on a brush as well. But this shade also has that bluish purplish undertone that the gloss has, in that it just has like a undertone. Like the sparkles themselves aren't straight up silver sparkles. It looks like a bluish purplish iridescence color underneath it. I'm gonna swatch Gloss Balm next to it just so that you guys can get a comparison of the shade. And literally it's just like Gloss Balm is the gloss version of this highlighter. The way that I'm going to use these products today, I already did my base, and for my base I use the Fenty foundation. If you are someone that works extremely long hours, the #1 foundation I will recommend for long wear is the Fenty foundation. So I'm a teacher. I usually leave my house around 7:30 a.m. but I apply my makeup around 6:30, and my makeup stays on from 6:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night, which is the time I usually get home, and I don't have to powder or blot once. Okay, and I have extremely oily skin. So I highly recommend the Fenty foundation if you're someone that has oily skin and you're looking for something that's gonna last you a long time. I'm just gonna go in with a brush and I'm gonna spray it in order to wet it. And I'm just going to go ahead and pick up that product. And one thing I will say that is because of the bounce, when you're picking it up, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it puts like a mark in the actual highlighter itself. So it definitely adapts to whatever you're doing to it. So the brush strokes from the brush, you can see it on the actual highlighter here. So it definitely picks up with a brush. And I am getting a little bit of fallout. This to me is just glitter. it's almost like a glitter that's packed into this type of formula or this type of texture so that you can pick it up and not have to really apply like a primer, but it feels pretty much like a glitter. As you guys can see, you just see the silver color on top, and it's not one of those glitters where it's like chunky so you can see it from afar. It's one of those iridescent kind of glitters. So I think that instead of applying this by itself, what I'm actually going to do is use it as a topper. I think that this is something that will be perfect as a topper on top of an eyeshadow that you already create. So I am going to go ahead and just take this off. I want you guys to get an idea of what it looks like just bare on the eyelid. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Diamond Balm and I'm going to apply it on top as a topper and see what it looks like. And then I am going to wet it just because I feel like any type of shade that has like a glitter or anything like that, it needs something to adhere to. And I am going to go ahead and place it on the inner corners of my lid as a topper. And I'm just gonna go and do the same thing on the other eye. One thing that I will say is that as I'm digging back into the palette in order to pick up more of the shade, the palette is kind of giving off the color of the blue. So as you guys can see, when it's tilted, it does have indents in it. And whatever color you put back on top of the highlighter is the color that's gonna reflect out because it's so light. Same thing as like if you use a white concealer. If you put a white concealer on your eyelid and you've already primed it and it has foundation on it, when you dip that concealer back into the actual container, it's going to change the color of the wand and change the color of the concealer just because of how light it is. So this one is turning a little blue. This is giving me complete like galaxy vibes. Alright, so I really love the way that this made my eyes look. I feel like it's definitely giving me the galaxy vibes. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to apply my wing liner and my lashes, and then I'll be back in order to apply it as a highlighter and to finally use Milk Balm. So I'm just going to go into the Diamond Balm and I'm going to swirl my brush all over it. I'm going to wet the brush and I'm going to apply it as a highlighter. I'm going to apply it on bare skin first, but if that doesn't work, which I feel like it might not, I'm going to use my other Kat Von D palette, which has like a blue iridescent highlighter, and then use this as a topper, but we'll try this on its own first. So it's applying, but it's not spreading. So I am going to go ahead and grab that Kat Von D palette and I'll be right back. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Kat Von D Alchemist Holographic Palette and I'm going to take the one that has like a blue hue. So it looks like these. So it has like a blue undertone. Don't mind what's on my hand. It's just like liner and like lash glue residue. But it has a blue undertone and I'm going to use that as a base first for my highlighter. So this look isn't really a wearable look, but I feel like with this type of product, you're not really going to be doing the looks that you do every day when you use it, just because the product itself is so unique. I will give you guys my final thoughts and opinions and some pros and cons for the products. So the first thing that I want to do before I even get into any of that is I want to swatch the Diamond Milk Gloss Balm in comparison to the original Gloss Balm, and then I want to swatch Trophy Wife in comparison to the new Diamond Balm, just so that you guys can look at the shades in comparison to what you already have and just get a good feel for what it looks like. So this is Trophy Wife and this is the new Diamond Balm in How Many Crystals. So major differences between these two is just going to be the pigmentation. So off of 2 swipes for Trophy Wife, you get a really pigmented color that whether you're applying it as a shadow or as a highlighter, you have to be careful when using it because it is so pigmented. whereas with this new Diamond Balm, it's pretty much sheer when you apply, even with 1 or 2 swipes, and you can really build it up. And then for the gloss bombs, we have the original one here and the new one in Diamond Milk. What I will definitely say is that if you are someone that is lighter or has a medium skin tone and you felt like the original gloss bomb gave you too much of a color, this new one is going to be perfect for you. So these are just the shades so that you guys can get an idea of what they look like in regards to the old products and the new Fenty products. So let's get into the pros and cons of these products. So let's start off with the Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb. I love this one and highly recommend it. I feel like what I love so much about this is that it is actually a universal color that I think will look amazing on anybody, whether they are light, medium, or dark. When I first applied this, I thought that it was going to be too silver, but as I told you guys, it doesn't really have like a silver undertone as much as it does. Like, it's like a blue or purple iridescent glitters that are in this gloss itself, but then it's still also really light. So when you apply it, it almost looks like it's gonna look ashy or like powdery on your lips. But as you guys can see, it does not do that at all. It's literally like a reflective, shiny, glossy lip color. And I love that about this. As far as price is concerned, $18 is a lot for a gloss, but honestly, there's just something about the way that Fenty formulates their glosses as well as the colors that they come out with that just makes it all worth it. The way that it applies, how long it lasts, how comfortable it feels on your lips. So I feel like this is definitely a go. If you are someone that is light, medium, or fair, the shade is going to look beautiful on you. For me, it basically just melted and blended into my skin. It doesn't give me any color. So what I do like about that is that I don't have to use a lip liner. So whether I am doing a makeup look and I want to add a gloss on top of a lipstick I have already, or if I'm just running to the store and I don't want to wear makeup and I want to throw on some gloss, I feel like this shade will work perfect for either of those occasions. So I absolutely recommend the Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb. It is bomb, okay? Now let's talk about Diamond Balm. This retails for $38. Let's do positives first. So I feel like this is really beautiful if you use it as an eyeshadow topper. So when I put it on top of the blue smoky eye that I had created, I was in love with the look that it gave me, and I felt like it looked absolutely gorgeous. That is the pro for me. Another pro could be that you build it up. So it's not something that comes on super pigmented where you have to be careful when you're working with it. It is something that you can pretty much control how much goes on when you first apply it. One other pro for this is just going to be the packaging. I really love the packaging of this, and I prefer it over the original packaging of their other highlighters just because of the fact that this is something that isn't going to get dirty as quickly and it's easier to clean. And another pro that I almost forgot was the mirror. The mirror on this is amazing. Like, it is so clear. You can tell that it's not a cheap mirror. I can see everything as I'm looking at this. So I feel like, let's say you're going away or you're going somewhere and you take this with you, you would absolutely be able to use this mirror in order to touch up your look or just to see what you are looking like. So now let's talk about the cons. So as far as the cons, number one for me is going to be the texture of it. While it does feel really soft and smooth, like, I just don't like the fact that if I press in too hard, it changes, or like it changes the way that the highlighter itself looks. It just makes me nervous. Another thing I would say is that when something has this type of texture, especially for example with the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, they can dry out. So for me personally, I know that I'm the type of person, especially if I'm getting ready in a rush, I leave things open on mistake or on accident. So I would be so nervous if I left this out by mistake and I came back and my $38 highlighter was just completely dry and would not be able to pick up product anymore. So that's something that you might have to worry about. So my second con for this is pretty much just going to be the way that it blends. So when I tried using this as a highlighter, when I first put it on, it was kind of all concentrated in one section, and when I was trying to blend it out, it wasn't moving as much. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the fact that this is almost like a packed or like a pressed glitter. It's like a formula that I've never seen before when it comes to glitter, because it's not necessarily a pressed glitter, but it's also not a loose glitter. It's like a weird combination of like a moisturized pressed glitter. Like, I really don't know how to explain it, but what I can say is that when you first put it on, it doesn't blend easily with a brush. So I feel like because of that, you have to put a highlighter base down first if you want to use it as a highlight. Now, this does work well with eyeshadows because you don't really want, like, when you put your eyeshadow on, you're not putting it on for it to blend immediately. I was kind of packing it onto my lid at first, so I had no issue with the fact that it was hard to move because I was putting it where I wanted to go on my eyelid. So it worked for my eyelid, but was a con for my highlight. The next con that I'm gonna have for this is just gonna be the shade. So when it comes to the question of is this dark skin friendly, for me as a highlighter, this is not dark skin friendly, just because, I don't know, I feel like it could potentially give ash vibes, like ashy vibes. The way that I used it, I used a blue highlighter underneath it, so it does have like a blue reflex on my body and on my cheeks, but I feel like by itself, it could look ashy. So I don't like the color of this. So if you are someone that is lighter or you're fair, I think that you would be able to use this as a highlighter or all over your body, because it's just more complementary to your skin tone versus someone that's darker. This could give you ashy vibes, because I feel like it started to give me ashy vibes in the beginning, especially when I turn my face. Like when I look straight on, it looks fine, but when I turn, it doesn't look like the pure pigment or the pure color. It kind of looks a little ashy. My next con, and I'm sorry, I know these seem like a lot of cons, but I just have a lot of thoughts on this product and I want to make sure that I tell you guys all of that. My next con is just going to be the fact that because this is a pure white or pure silver color in the pan, if you are someone that's darker and you apply this, let's say on your skin, and you dip back into it, this color or this shade is going to take on whatever color it is that you're mixing into it. So what I mean by that is that I'm dark skin, I'm brown, so as you guys can see, this started to turn a brown color because when I was going back and forth between applying it as a highlight and onto my skin, it took off a little bit of the foundation and or the powder, and it got into the palette. So if you are someone that is getting this, you want to think to yourself, like, you don't want this to be dirty, one, just because you don't want it to affect the color that the actual highlighter ends up becoming. So that's going to be another con that I have for this product. I think those are going to be all of my pros and cons for both the Diamond Balm and the Gloss Bomb. So do I recommend these products? Yes and no. I 100% recommend the Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb, and I do not recommend the Diamond Balm if you are someone that is darker. But if you are someone that is fair or light, I do recommend this for you. Just in general, I feel like the shade of this is a little off for me, and I don't like the way that it blends because it doesn't move as much. But as far as the Gloss Bomb, this is amazing, amazing, amazing. They need to keep coming up with more shades of this because I'll definitely buy it, even though it is $18. That is expensive, but I feel like it's worth it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below and let me know if you'll be picking up either one of these items or if you already have. If so, what are your thoughts? I'm definitely curious. Make sure you go ahead and check out my previous videos. And until next time, guys.